pranams the Holy Trio and namaskars to Reverend Adhyaksha Maharaj, all Reverend monks, guests for today, teachers, young friends and volunteers. A very warm welcome to this August gathering and a very important event, Love India, Serve India, a part of our country's celebration of marking 75 years of our freedom, AZADI Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We now invite Reverend Maharaj and our guests for today, Sri Sharad Vivek Sagar sir, Sri Ravi sir, to grace the dais.
Let us now begin the celebration by lighting the lamp, which signifies a shift from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. I now request Revered Maharaj and guests of the event to initiate the historic celebrations by lighting the lamp.
Let us now welcome Swami Siteshanandaji Maharaj and brother monks for the invocation chant and a bhajan rendering.
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसाधनं। महागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्र्यवतो आनो दिवो बृहतः पर्वताधा सरस्वती यजतागन्तु यज्ञं वाग्देव्यै नमः। ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय आवहन्ति वितन्वाना कुर्वाणा चिरमात्मनः असागुंसि मम गावश्च अन्नपाने च सर्वदा ततो मे श्रियमावह लोमशां पशुभिः सह स्वाहा आमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा विमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा प्रमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा दमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा शमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा यशोजने सानि स्वाहा श्रेयान्वस्य सोसानि स्वाहा तन्त्वा भगप्रविशानि स्वाहा समाभगप्रविश स्वाहा तस्मिन् सहस्रशाखे निभगाहं त्वयि मृजे स्वाहा यथापः प्रवतायन्ति यथा मासा अहर्जरम् एवं मां ब्रह्मचारिणः धातरायन्तु सर्वतः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमाभाहि प्रमापद्यस्व। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्निर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपान्तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहं। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। विवेकानन्दा यतिवरेण्या అందుకొను మా వందనములు। వివేకానందా యతివరేణ్యా అందుకొను మా వందనములు। వివేకానందా మర్మము తెలిపి స్వామి నిర్మలత్వము నిలుపు చేసిన కర్మ మర్మము తెలిపి స్వామి నిర్మల రానిది నీదు ప్రేమ మాటి మాటికి కలతు నిన్నే సాటి రానిది నీదు ప్రేమ మాటి మాటికి తలతు నిన్నే వివేకానంద యతివరేణ్యా అందుకొను మా వందనములు వివేకానంద త్యాగ మహిమను అవని జోపే త్యాగ మహిమను అవని జోపే త్యాగశీలి తాపహరణ త్యాగ మహిమను అవని జోపే త్యాగశీలి तापहरण विश्वमानव शान्तिदाता विश्वमानव शान्तिदाता ब्रोवो नरवर मुक्तिनेता विश्वमानव शान्तिदाता ब्रोवो नरवर मुक्तिनेता विवेकानंदा यतिवरेण्या అందుకొను మా వందనములు వివేకానందా సప్తర్షి మండలము నుండి సప్తర్షి మండలము నుండి అవతరించిన భాను తేజ సప్తర్షి మండలము నుండి అవతరించిన భాను తేజ రామకృష్ణ శిష్య కనికరముంచి గనుము దీన జనులను రామకృష్ణ శిష్య కనికరముంచి గనుము దీన జనులను వివేకానంద యతివరేణ్యా అందుకొను మా వందనములు వివేకానంద యతివరేణ్యా అందుకొను మా వందనములు వివేకానంద వివేకానంద వివేకానంద
Thank you, Swamiji, for the wonderful rendition on Swami Vivekananda's qualities. We now welcome humbly Swami Bodhamayananji Maharaj to share his inspiring insights and words about Swamiji and India. Welcome, Swamiji.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा मृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ Offering my pranams to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada Devi and Swami Vivekananda and to our motherland. I offer my namaskars to the guest of honor today, Shri L. Ravi Chander ji, Senior Counsel of the High Court of Telangana, and Shri Sharad Vivek Sagar, founder and MD of Dexterity Global, coming all the way from Patna to participate in today's grand celebration, AZADI ka AMRIT MAHOTSAV. This is the second celebration that we are doing today. On the 30th, we did one big celebration for the elders, for the college students and their professors. Nearly 1,200 students attended. And today the concentration, the focus is on you, the +1, +2 students, and the 10th standard students from various schools connected with our institute. So as we go forward, my dear young friends, both sides, the girls and the boys, the brothers and sisters, we expect total participation, cooperation and concentration. Are you ready for that? Because it is not just another day. We are on the threshold of independence. The 76th Independence Day, 75th anniversary. The celebration has been going on since last May, and we should be little more serious and little more focused. Respect towards the motherland is very important, and that does not come from textbooks or from your exams. It comes from your mind. As all of you know, in school, college, you are taught not to use much of plastic, is it not? And recycling paper, recycling water, recycling garbage, recycling scrap. But I have not seen any institution, any school and college talking about recycling the mind. We talk all external, nothing internal. That's why as soon as you drink a cup of coffee or have a chocolate, you throw the chocolate in the road and eat the chocolate for yourself. We make the motherland dirty. And we say, Mera Bharat Mahan. Swachh Bharat will become a reality when there is Swachh Soch. Swachh Bharat will become a reality when there is Swachh Manas. What is inside comes outside. I don't need a notice board to tell me don't spit here, don't throw garbage outside. My mind is my director. But unfortunately, everything outside, nothing inside. But our grandfather, our grandmother, our great leaders who gave us this freedom were first inside, then they went outside. First they meditated. They made their life pure. You know only about the Gandhis and the Patels and the Nehrus and other modern leaders. But we forget the great unsung heroes of India. When I was traveling from Kolkata back to Hyderabad some months back, in the Indigo Airlines, there was a very interesting announcement. Not about flight, not about the altitude, but thanks to the Civil Aviation Ministry, they said every aircraft, every private airline should announce the birthday of one sung hero on that day who gave us freedom. And very interestingly, which I was also ignorant, that day what happened to be a birthday of a 12-year-old girl who fought against 25 British soldiers to protect her mother from attack. They were trying to molest her own mother. This schoolgirl of 12 years fought for one full day, it seems. And she died in the evening. Mother was saved. In that way, they protected our country, protected our sacrifice themselves. So, we have to recollect those great people. Unfortunately, you are told to forget the past. It's a very bad teaching by the so-called educated people in the country. Swami Vivekananda was against it. He said, the more we learn about the past, the better will be our future. The past was so great. The future will be greater because you and I are children in the present. The past is called Radiant India, Radiant Bharat. From the Vedic times till 1100, that is the history period of Radiant Bharat. How from the jungles our great ancestors came to the highest civilization, both culture and civilization. Then we had the Mauryan Empire. And through Ashoka going around the whole world, Buddhism. We had the Shatavahanas. We had the invasions from the Shakas, from the Sangha dynasty. And in the south we had the Chola, Chera, Pandyan, Sangam culture in Tamil Nadu. This is all the radiance of our past. We forget that. It becomes only a textbook for 5 questions. And we think we know everything about India's past. We don't know Upanishads, we don't know our great scriptures. But we know only artificial intelligence, only video games. When you cut off the root from the past, the tree will die. The root is very, very important, my dear young children. The past of America, Europe, Australia is different. But we have a great past. And there is some section in the society today, the so-called educated people in the media, they say your great-grandfather was a fool. He doesn't know anything. Your great-grandmother is an idiot because she did not go to any university. Do you agree with that? Without going to university, without going to any college, without learning computer, they must have been great saints in their villages, whether in Telangana, whether in Sikkim, whether in Arunachal Pradesh or whether in Madhya Pradesh. Because of them, you and I are here. That is why Sri Aurobindo, whose birthday also is on August 15th, 150th birthday of Maharshi Aurobindo, who was a revolutionary. He says about India, about our nation. What is a nation? What is our motherland? It is not a piece of earth, nor a figure of speech, nor a fiction of the mind. It's a mighty Shakti composed of the Shaktis of millions of units that make up the nation that you and I are. That is India. How much pride we should feel, how much concern we should feel about our nation, not by politics. That is one kind of culture that we have developed. It is necessary. Then the second India, don't forget, my dear young friends, which is part of your history textbooks. It is called the resilient India, resilient Bharat. Invasions came from 1100 AD till 1947, till British occupancy. East India Company, then the British Empire taking the whole of this nation into their grip. But how many Rajas, Maharajas? In that period, common, we know, some of them. We had the Dharma Shastras. We had Chanakya with the Niti Shastras, which governing our daily life. Then we had the Vijayanagara Empire. We had the Rajputs, the Marathas, the Lions of Punjab. At every stage they were resilient. They were fighting or opposing the rules of the invaders. Then the resurgent India. From 1857 till 1947 and 75 years plus. You and I are in that position. Your father is in that position of resurgent India. But 1857, mind you, the first war of Indian independence. One mistake in the team of Rani of Jhansi Lakshmi Bai. One mistake, one selfishness, one jealousy. We had to wait for another 90 years, almost 1 century for freedom. So that resurgence is what we have to build up. You are sick, you are weak. 2 years we were in isolation in corona pandemic. But those who had immunity, those who had that ability, that yoga, that shakti, that good food, they survived. Those who were only for fast foods and lazy life and irregular lifestyle, they perished. So my dear young friends, we have to build a resurgent India. And this resurgent India is not just 15th August or AMRIT MAHOTSAV. It is on 16th, it is on 17th, it is on 18th, it is on 20th August also. Year by year we are going forward. Yes or no? But unfortunately we create more problems for ourselves. We are responsible for that. So the celebrations, 3 days, 4 days, and in Ramakrishna mission, all over the country, not just Hyderabad, not just Delhi, all over the country, we are getting floods and floods of news from every city, every village in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh, in far away in Arunachal Pradesh, touching China border. There is a celebration going on even now today. And you may wonder how Ramakrishna mission is connected. We are all monks here. School I understand, you may say. College I understand. A public government body you can understand. But why Ramakrishna mission is connected? You see those 3 pictures there in front of you, whom we just offered worship. Sri Ramakrishna. What did he do? He contributed Vivekananda to all of us. That is why we worship him. We directly offer flowers because he is the guru of Sri Vivekananda. Vivekananda said, without my master, I would have been only another lazy boy in Kolkata streets. He molded a boy called Narendra into Vivekananda. And he said, Naren will teach the whole world. He will go from house to house and awaken the soul in everybody, awaken the divinity in every house. This he will do till the last day of his life. Sri Ramakrishna inspired Keshav Chandra Sen, who was the leader of the Brahmo Samaj at that time. Brahmo Samaj was so powerful against the British to protect our culture. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Keshav Chandra Sen, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Mahendra Lal Sarkar, all these top leaders, thinkers of Kolkata were sitting like children at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. And then you see Ma Sharada Devi. She is not just a wife of Sri Ramakrishna. She indirectly played a very crucial role in freedom movement in Bengal. She lived up to 1920. Many of you do not know her story. You know a little about Vivekananda, that's all. But without mother, Vivekananda would not have started this organization. He would not have gone to America also. There's one very interesting incident, very powerful incident in her life. She was living in Jairambati. Jairambati is about 60 miles from Kolkata, a small village, now a developed district, her birthplace. She was always wearing a veil, very, very quietly, her whisper only. She never used to speak loud. But one day she heard in that village lot of noise, lot of gadbad, people shouting, police lathi charging the public, the villagers. Mother came out of her house. Okay? Out of her room, she saw 4 British soldiers were dragging 2 pregnant Indian mothers, Indian women being dragged in the streets of the village. Why were they being dragged? Their husbands were revolutionaries, were freedom fighters. The police thought, if we arrest these ladies, husbands will come and we will finish them off. So these pregnant women were being dragged in the streets and they were crying for help. They were shouting for help. Nobody was there daring to protect them because these British soldiers had guns and lathis. But Mother Sharda Devi felt the pain, the cry of these pregnant ladies. She removed her veil and she shouted, it seems, "What kind of people you are? So many men. Are you men? Can't you protect your own women?" And then she made a very bold statement. You know what she said? Has Queen Victoria lost her brain? Has she ordered this to assault the women of India? If that is so, her time has come. British have to leave this country. They have touched the women of India. This is a prediction by Mother Sharda Devi. And many revolutionaries, you do not know their names. I don't need to tell them. They all became her disciples. They used to come and eat nighttime chapati from her. She used to feed. Morning they were fighting. Night they used to hide. They became monks of the Ramakrishna order later. So in that way, Ma Sharda Devi's contribution is unknown, but we spread it to our circles. And of course, Swami Vivekananda, no looking back. 1897, Swamiji predicted the freedom of our country. That is why we dedicate this Amrita Mahotsav to Swami Vivekananda. He changed the mind of the people of India towards freedom. You know what he said? The longest night seems to be passing away. The sorest trouble seems to be coming to an end at last. The seeming corpse appears to be awaking. India, this motherland of ours, from our deep, long sleep. From 1100 AD, we went into sleep. Every Tom, Dick and Harry would come and attack us, would take away part of India. History students, the Dutch came. They took away Andaman, Nicobar, Daman and Diu. It became their territory. The Portuguese came, they took away Goa. The French came, they took away Pondicherry. The Mughals and the Turks and the British came, they took away everything of India. They were playing football with us. Why? We did not have lost the national spirit. Swami Vivekananda understood all this and said, Mother India is awaking from her sleep. Never is she going to sleep anymore. No outward powers can hold her back anymore, for the infinite giant is rising to her feet. He saw. He did not say. After seeing, he is expressing his joy. Mother India is awaking from her sleep. Ghar Ghar Mein Tiranga is not just the flag there, it is the awakening of India from her sleep. When you go to school, go with that awakening. Not for boring, not for just some jokes or for some fun. Who knows from you, we have scientists, we have musicians, we have artists in the future. But you should plan. What can I do for the nation? So that was all the great freedom fighters. Great works are to be done, my dear friends. Don't think of your age. Don't think of your background. Think of yourself. When we say Amrit, it is not just a Goa. It is not just one apple. It is not just one name, figure of speech. It is Amrita, conquering death. You conquer death. You go beyond death. You become immortal, That is very, very important. So on this very important day, we're on the threshold of the 76th Independence Day, on the stroke of midnight, as Pandit Nehru said, the whole world sleeps, India awakes. His famous speech, Tryst with Destiny. But we have lost somewhere. We have become like a cacophony today. There's no symphony. Again, we go back to that slavish state. Money is not a problem, my dear young friends. Money at all is not a problem. Every day we see scams and scams and scams of thousands and thousands of crores. So rich India is, but it's not going to the right place, to the right position. But there are some wonderful people who are sacrificing, not by government, not by any other resolution, by their love for the country. So 3 R's, remember: the radiant India, the resilient India, and third one, the resurgent India. Can you repeat that? Past is radiant India. In between, what happened? Resilient India. Now, resurgent India. Loud and clear. Can you all say it loudly? Past is called? In between, resilient India. And present, resurgent India. That's why we call it what? Amar Bharat. The nation that will not die. Okay? So it is our responsibility to know, to participate, to study, meditate, and contribute to the nation. So this is a very important period, and celebrations are going on far and wide, through the government, through personal, through NGOs, etc. So make your celebration worthwhile. Take some resolution. There were some mantras which were chanted by our brother monks. When is it come? From radiant India. From 5,000 years it is coming, as if it is message to you and to me. Amayantu brahmacharina swaha. The sages were inviting students like you to come to their school, to their ashram, and learn knowledge, gain knowledge. What kind of students? Not goody-goody, not namby-pamby, not just fancy. Pramayantu brahmacharina swaha, who are so pure, the moment they hear, they will get knowledge. Damayantu brahmacharina swaha, students who have self-control, body control and mind control. Shamayantu brahmacharina swaha, students who have good mind, a pure mind, a concentrated mind. That means what? You should be eligible for knowledge. Should prepare yourself for knowledge. Commonwealth Games ended. So many medals we got for the first time in Indian history. But preparation was there, yes or no? They just didn't go and then do some magic there. They had to struggle, they had to fight, they had to work. So that is the brahmacharis, the knowledge seekers. All of you concentrate. Two wonderful speakers, two wonderful guest people. People have come, a lot of experience. Sri Ravi Chander, the senior counsel of the High Court of Telangana, highly read and well read and groomed many of the students in through your schools, whether it is the DPS, whether it is Meridian, whether it is the Bhavan schools, they all underwent his firepower of questioning, of interacting, we conduct a leadership program every year. And he comes and gives them the nice finishing touch, how to become a good citizen, a good person, good seeker. And of course, Sharad Sagar, you will know about him when he speaks. So absorb the knowledge, give your full attention for next 1 hour plus, and go back home with more radiance and more resurgence. May Swami Vivekananda bless you, may all the great leaders of India bless you, and may Motherland bless you with strength, with joy and peace. Wish you all the best. Welcome to Ramakrishna Math on this great occasion.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for giving us insights into the glorious past of our motherland, Amar Bharat, and our responsibility as young leaders and citizens for a resurgent India. Moving forward, we have a recitation of Swami Vivekananda's powerful message on rejuvenating and awakening India by the students of the Vivekananda Balavikas Kendra. Let's welcome them with a huge round of applause.
Swami Vivekananda's message is not for the hour, but for the age.
Not only for the nation, but for humanity.
So far as India is concerned, the message is not meant for little bits of social reform, but for complete rejuvenation of our national life in all its phases.
Today, let us hear to what Swamiji says while guiding us to be better youths of our country. My faith is in the younger generations, in the modern generations. Out of them will come out my workers. What we want are some young men who will renounce everything and sacrifice their life for their country's sake.
Swami Vivekananda was a true patriot. He explains, practical patriotism is not a mere sentiment or even an emotion of love of the motherland, but a passion to serve to our fellow countrymen.
To Swami Vivekananda, everything Indian was absolutely and equally sacred. He exhorts the land to which must come all souls, wending their way Godward. The land where humanity has attained its highest towards purity, gentleness and love. The land of introspection and spirituality. It is India.
Study the history of the world. You will see that every high ideal you meet with anywhere had its origin in India. From time immemorial, India has been the mine of precious ideas to human society. Giving birth to ideas herself, she has freshly distributed them and broadcast over the whole world.
The debt that the world owes to our motherland is immense.
taking country with country, there is not a race on this earth to which the world owes so much as to the patient Hindu, the mild Hindu.
Let others blunder as they might, but for Swamiji, the country was young, flexible, and the national energy unexploited. The India of his dreams was in the future. To him, his country's hope was in herself and her youth.
Here is Swamiji's clarion call for the national workers. He says, "Come out of your narrow holes and have a look abroad. See how the nations are marching. Do you love your country? Then come, let us struggle for higher and better things. Look not back, but forward."
Men, these are wanted, and everything else will be ready, but strong, vigorous, being a man, sincere to the backbone, are wanted 100 such, and the world will become revolutionized.
Down with all the sloth hereafter. Plunge into the fire. Put yourself to work, and you will feel tremendous power coming to you that you will feel hard to bear. Even the least work done for others awakens the power within. Even the least good of others gradually instills into the heart the strength of a lion.
Children of India, the longest night seems to be passing. The severest trouble seems to be coming to an end at last. The seeming corpse appears to be rising again, and a voice is coming unto us.
Coming down from there, reflected as it were, from peak to peak of the infinite Himalayas of knowledge, love, and of work, this motherland of ours, a voice is coming on to us.
Behold, the sleeper is awakening. She is awakening from her deep, long sleep.
None can resist her anymore. Never is she going to sleep anymore. No outward power can hold her back anymore. For this infinite giant is rising to her feet.
For his nation, as for every individual, Swamiji had but one word, one constantly reiterated message: arise, awake, struggle on, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Please repeat.
Uddishtata, Jagrata, Prapyarana, Nibodhata. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Thank you so much. It was a very powerful and recitation, and we all could literally hear Swamiji's clarion call. Under the able guidance and training of our volunteer Parivita, the recitation was done by Ishita, Virenya, Aditya, Samanvi, and Pranati. Now moving ahead, we have the first guest speaker, and I would like to request BSN Murthy sir, a faculty of VIHE, to introduce him. Thank you.
It's already small. Pranam to the Holy Trio and Pranam Maharaj. We have two important learned gentlemen on the dais. Don't get distracted now because I see a lot of the students getting distracted. We have two important, very important two gentlemen sitting here. They're going to set the stage on fire and ignite that patriotic fervor in all of you. So attentively listen. I am privileged to introduce one of the speakers, Mr. Ravi Chander sir. He's a senior counsel, as Maharaj was telling, senior counsel in High Court of Telangana. Sir was a rank-holding economics graduate from Osmania University and Law University, Chennai. Sir has been practicing law for the last 40 years. He has been instrumental in preparing various statutes, acts for the state and helped Advocate General in drafting enactments. His passion ranges from debates, Hindi films, classical music, gardening, etc. He is an eloquent orator as well as a quiz master. Apart from all this, he has been connected to MUT, mentoring and inspiring many young men and women. We are very thankful for his presence today, and then I would promise you, you're going to go with goosebumps after listening to these two speakers. Thank you very much.
Very respected Swamiji, Sharad Vivek, who you are all very eager to listen to, young minds of a growing and a promising new India. Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny. When the world was awake at midnight hours, we awoke to freedom. Unfortunately, in these 75 years, while much of what should have happened has happened, a lot of what should not have happened has also happened. Today, as we stand at an important 75th milestone of what Swamiji called the rejuvenating Naya Bharat, I wonder if this is time to be proud and happy, whether this is just time to celebrate, or to just make these holy, nice, big, nice speeches and go back and live life like we always do, will do. Firstly, let me tell you, I have no advice for any one of you in this house. No advice. I am not a learned person. I am not a jnani. I have no mantra. I have no formula. I hope I had one. I would have loved to share it with all of you. I have none. I repeat, I have none. Also, I know you youngsters don't like advice. Are bhashan dena band kar yaar. This is what all of you would say. Udbe nor musko is what you would always say. And I think there's a lot of truth in it. The reason for this is symbolic in a story that I have said and repeated many times. There was this young boy, adolescent like many of you, just coming at this wonderful 16, 17. He was going to a Southeast Asian tour for the first time with his very rich businessman father. Papa on flight told the son, listen, you can come, you can buy what you want, you can do what you want. But don't go to these nightclubs, they are very bad. Youngster, like all of you again, the moment you say don't do something, he'll go and do it. So what did he do? He just went and made friends with a local man there and said, I must go and see a nightclub and see what is happening there that I should not be watching. Lo and behold, he went to the club, spent a couple of nice hours at the club, came out of the club, and then his friend asked him, did you see anything in the club that you should not have seen because your father said it was not a nice place? He said, yes, I saw something. The newfound friend was surprised because he's always been there and he didn't see anything wrong there. So he then asked him, what is it that you saw wrong over there? What is it that you saw which you should not have seen there? He said, I saw my father there. This huge hypocrisy is India. This huge doublespeak is India. If we can be honest to ourselves and stop being hypocrites, we've made a great stride in improving the text of this country. We are told to worship Parvati, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Durga, Mata, Mother. And what do we see? We respect our father, we disrespect our mother at home. We can lie at our mom, we can shout at her, we can say, hey, coffee this kara. She's your paid maid servant. On the road, when a girl does something more virtuous than us, or if she gets a better rank in class, nothing hurts us more than that. Vada mogodu emana cheyochu nu cheyoddu is a word the father and the mother keep drilling into the mind of the girl. The boy can come home at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night. Hey, abbai ippudu tirugakapothe eppudu tirugutadu. The girl, ఏంటి 8 అయింది నువ్వు ఇంటికి రావాలని తెలీదా? ఏమైపోతుంది నీకు? The man can wear butt showing jeans. The girl must be completely well dressed. The boy can have fun, the girl must learn how to make coffee, how to make chapati, how to cut vegetables. The day India decides to teach its daughters how to fix the bulb, the day India teaches its boys how to cut onions, we have started making an impact in our society. If half of these claps, if 1/4 of these claps transform from tomorrow, if the girls are told at home, Kuragayal goyi, please tell your mother, Annan jemanu nen chesta, Tammudun jemanu nen chesta. Revolting against wrong is not wrong. Submitting to wrong is wrong. Learn to raise your voice on the right issue so that people begin to take you seriously. Homework చేయను అని అరుస్తే తప్పు. తమ్ముడికి మర్యాద ఇచ్చి మీకు మర్యాద ఇవ్వకపోతే తప్పు. Correct yourself there. Correct your parents there. Revolt comes only in small measures. Not everybody is a Swami Vivekananda to go and stand in Chicago and give the world-changing experience. When your teacher in school says, guy, go and get the duster, one of you girls say, why should the boys go? We'll go and get it. Learn to protest at every space of gender exploitation or gender discrimination. This is going to help bring down rape rate and sex discrimination in this country. Let boys at 10 and 12 learn that respect to women is not Mahishasuramardini. It does not stop with Aigiri Nandini Nandita Medini Vishwa Vinodini Jishnanute. It starts with learning to respect your mother just as much as you learn to respect your father. It learns to respect that girl servant who comes to the house and stop saying Rave Pove to her. It starts with you learning to wash your cup of coffee and put it back in the sink rather than expect your sister to do it for you. There's a very interesting word in English called righteousness. Its nearest translation in Hindi is dharma. Dharma has no equivalent in the English language. Subject to correction by more learned people. I've tried to find out if there's an equivalent to the word dharma. There is not. You know why? Because culturally, we believed that the final arbiter of everything we say, we do, we act, we sing, is the conscience. There is no greater temple, no greater God, no greater religion than that little speaking thing in your heart. Learn to cultivate it. Dharma. Ask, keep on asking, did I do this right? Did I do that wrong? Did I do this right? And when I say right and wrong, I'm not talking about sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. I'm not talking about the value of sine 45 or cos 30. I'm not talking about how to produce hydrochloric acid or what is in the Mendel chart. Those are facts. You can be correct, you can be wrong there. I'm talking about being right, not correct. I hope some of you will have the interest of going home today, opening up a dictionary to find out the difference between what is correct and what is right. They are not the same. Check out for yourselves. Today we are all Marxists, not Karl Marx Marxists. We all want Marx. Enta Marx ochinayi? 90 ochinaya? Hey, 90 ochinayi. I worked so hard, teacher doesn't like me, that's why she gave me 90 marks. This unfortunate teacher, year after year after year, she's only making enemies. At least in schools where there is no uniform, you can blame the teacher for not liking the color of your shirt. Even in the school where you're wearing uniform, she doesn't like you. I think she has a sneak preview of what is there in your lunchbox and she doesn't like that. That's why she's not giving you marks. You're doing your brilliant job. Examination system is bad, teaching is not good, principal is bad, school is not good, everything is imperfect. Only we are perfect. We study so hard, we keep the book in front of us. And we think of how Ranveer wore his latest costume. Or we are very busy thinking, why the hell is Virat Kohli coming back into the Indian team when we should have Dinesh Karthik batting at number 5? We have gyan on everything in the world. But when it comes to our studies, we are happy first class vaste chalu. ఎందుకంటే అబ్బా అమ్మ ఏదో కష్టాలు పడి ఏదో ఇంజనీరింగ్ కాలేజ్లో పడేస్తారు, అక్కడ 4 సంవత్సరాలు అయిన తర్వాత అమెరికాకు వెళ్ళిపోవచ్చు, ఫినిష్డ్. It took 190 years and 1,000,000 deaths and hundreds and thousands of protests and people being in jail for us to be happy in this country, and today we are all proud of going to America. We all, what's your ambition in life? Multinational company, preferably America. At least Singapore. In a country where grandmothers and mothers made different kinds of vadiyalu. Ask today's generation, what do you want? They want to have Lay's chips. In a country where your parents made amazingly good for health dosa, pesarettu, ada. Ask today's generation, what do you want to eat? Pizza. In a country that's proud of Bhimsen Joshi, Pandit Jasraj, M.S. Subbalakshmi, M.L. Vasantakumari. What do you want to listen to? Boney M. Michael Jackson. This cultural imperialism that has set into our country is a repeat of what happened to this country in 1857. Jago, please wake up. History will not give you another Gandhi, Nehru, Patel, Vivekananda. And the road you and I are walking, we are not going to create them. So at least let us protect what we have. I'm not going to stand here like Swamiji and tell you what a great culture we are. I'm telling you it's a good enough culture for you and me to protect. Is it the greatest? It doesn't matter. Merely because somebody else's mother is greater than mine, I won't go and respect her more than I will respect my mother. To me, my mother is the greatest, therefore my culture is the best. Down in the flats, there's a more happy family living. Their father gets more salary than my father. I don't go and call him daddy, isn't it? My challenge in life is to make the best of what I have. We all carry this Indian tricolor. I have something to tell you about the Indian tricolor, and I'm going to quote for you from somewhere. Give me a minute. Today, and I'm going to give you the context and then talk about it. There's a new Gyan University. You know, we spoke about some famous universities in India, Banaras Hindu University, the Madras University, the Bombay IIT. I hope I haven't given up something in Patna. Famous universities all over the country. But today, then you have Cambridge, you have Oxford, you have Stanford, you have the Ivy League colleges. But you know which is the most popular knowledge spreading university where everybody can get admission, everybody can become a PhD? Any guess? WhatsApp University. Everybody is a Gnani in that university. You can just spread as many lies as you want. You can say Pythagoras theorem is wrong. And all of you will like it because you don't have to read one chapter out from your maths syllabus. And you're hoping that you'll have a minister who will say all theorems are wrong so that you'll finish off with that subject. Today there is a great amount of building that to say that you are strong, you are great, you need to say somebody else is not great, somebody else doesn't love this country. These people, we people. There is no these and we. Culturally, look at the Ganga. India is symbolic by the Ganga. It flows from its source to its point of ending, absorbs everything that comes in its way, and is still quintessentially the Ganga. Our culture is that. Atal Bihari Vajpayee put it beautifully. He called it the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If you cannot trust people whose prayers are different from yours, if you cannot trust lifestyles and cultures which are different from yours, if you cannot believe that there are other alternatives, then your belief in yourself is suspect. If you have enough confidence that my religion, my culture is great, then you're not going to be worried about others. They will come like passing clouds to move. You will have to stand rooted in yours own. And to be rooted in your own, don't hate somebody. Instead, learn to nourish your own. Stop eating pizza, start eating peseret. You think this is a joke, but it is true. Do you understand today that every pizza shop in this country is at the cost of the Indian agricultural farmer who's growing udat and rice for you to eat idlis and doshas? We are no longer concerned about it because pizza are happy for us. We can eat all the cheese and all the butter and then think of doing exercise in a gym. Revisit your lifestyle, your life, and it will begin to give you simple answers. At the end of the day, remember, 75 marks in your mark sheet and brilliant character is a far greater thing in life than a 99% mark sheet and poor character. Why is it that in India today we have such wonderful students? Every year 9.9, look at Narayana and Chaitanya. In that concentration camp, only success is coming out. Unfortunately, in the same India, the number of rape is increasing, the number of crime is increasing, imposters are increasing. How do you juxtapose, how do you put these two things together? I'm not able to understand. Which means that this mark connectivity to human character is missing. And that is why whenever Swamiji says come, it's a command, it's not a request. Because I see Vivekananda Institute as the only place today in the whole of the city which learns to teach you character, not marks. There are multiple institutions which try to compromise a bit of marks and a bit of character. There are some which concentrate only on marks. But Vivekananda is the only place that says, we'll build character, marks can come later. It's very unfortunate that I'm talking to the students. I hope there were more parents listening to me. Because I think we as a generation have failed you rather than you as a generation are not growing properly. I believe that this Indian tricolor that we have, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, bad name nowadays, but we'll use him. Because in terms of mere achievement and knowledge, he's far superior to everybody in this country today. He said, and I quote, "There will be no complete freedom as long as there is starvation, hunger, lack of clothing, lack of necessaries of life, and lack of opportunity of growth for every single human being, man, woman, and child in this country." How many of us are so lucky that we just have to say, Papa, Papa, నాకు ఇది కావాలి వచ్చేస్తుంది, లేకపోతే హర్తాల్, మొఖం మార్చుకోవడం, నేను చేయను, హోంవర్క్ చేయను, చదవను. Please wake up. You are lucky. You are not just lucky that you are going to a good school, that your parents can put you into a good class. You are also lucky that you are at this institution. Count your blessings and understand that if you want to be, I don't know what this word successful means. I don't think I'm a successful person. I'm an ordinary person. I live life normally. I go to bed with a clean conscience. When I go to bed every night, I ask myself, have I done many wrongs today? I'll give you all a small test for your lives. Try it out. Every night before you sleep, apart from the prayers that you are required to say and you recite mechanically. You don't have to tell anybody, just to yourself. This is a personal conversation between you and your God. Ask yourself, today, have I done anything? Have I done anything that has made my today better than my yesterday? That's all. Very, 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 very simple test for every one of you, including the boys who are yawning, boys who are chatting, boys who are talking, the boy right in front of me who's looking behind and not listening to me. Done? Can I continue? The boy in row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13th row. Yes, the boy there right in front of me. Can you see my hand? Okay, let's look at the orange cap. After the orange cap, there's a boy with the... Yes, no, don't look behind, all of you. There are orange caps all over the place. Look in the front. I'm looking. Yes, yes. You pointed out. Yes, you. Show that boy. That's the boy. Go back. Shall I come there or would you stand up? Go back 2 rows, 3 rows. Yes, now stand up. They pointed out to you. Quick. The boy standing, the most innocent face over there. Yes, you, the one who has a doubt. Yes, stand up. Stand up. Have you finished your conversation? Can I continue with what I am saying? Do I have your permission? Can I continue, please? Thank you. One other practice I suggest for everybody. Learn to read. We've given up this habit completely in our lives. Read Amar Chitra, I don't mind. Read comics, I don't mind. Read Playboy, I don't mind, but begin to read. Begin to read. It's an important thing in life. It's not as simple as I'm making it out to be. Spend 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes every day reading something outside of your textbooks. We have 24 hours and that homework and all is humbug. You can finish it within the time given to you by your teachers. Time for me to close up, and I'm going to close down with a quotation that I have before me. It's said by a very famous poet, Pradeep. I've said this many times over here and I repeat. हम लाए हैं तूफान से कश्ती निकाल के, इस देश को रखना मेरे बच्चों संभाल के. तुम ही भविष्य हो मेरे भारत विशाल के, इस देश को रखना मेरे बच्चों संभाल के. देखो कहीं बर्बाद न हो ये बगीचा, इसको हृदय के खून से है खींचा. रखा है चिराग शहीदों ने बाल में, इस देश को रखना मेरे बच्चों संभाल के. दुनिया के दाव पेंच से रखना न वास्ता, मंजिल तुम्हारी दूर है लंबा है रास्ता. भटका न दे कोई तुम्हें धोखे में डाल के, हम लाए हैं तूफान से किश्ती निकाल कर, इस देश को रखना बच्चों संभाल कर. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank Thank you very much, sir. In spite of not wanting to give us any advice, there are many things that we'd like to take away, especially few thoughts that we have to reflect and start the change right here and right now. Thank you so much, sir. And moving ahead, we have the felicitation ceremony, and I request Maharaj ji to felicitate the guests today. Thank you. Stepping ahead, we have a patriotic song rendition by the bright and young students of Sister Nivedita High School, Hyderabad. Let us welcome them with a huge round of applause. Thank you.
जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ बराई जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ बराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान नाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई वतन तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूँ तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूँ कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू ए वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू मैं जहाँ रहूँ जहाँ में याद रहे तू ए वतन मेरे वतन ए वतन मेरे वतन थैंक यू हे भारत जननी हे भारत जननी वीर धीर चरितुलतो వెలిగే ధరణి हे भारत जननी हे भारत जननी वीर धीर చరితులతో వెలిగే ధరణి हे भारत जननी हे भारत जननी వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ వీర ధీర చరితులతో వెలిగే ధరణి హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ నాలుగు వేదములు నాలుగు దిక్కుల నీ ఖ్యాతిని ప్రసరించగా నాలుగు వేదములు నాలుగు దిక్కుల నీ ఖ్యాతిని ప్రసరించగా ఐక్యతతో ఆ ఖ్యాతిని పెంచి విశ్వమంతటా చాటేము ఐక్యతతో ఆ ఖ్యాతిని పెంచి విశ్వమంతటా చాటేము వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ వీర ధీర చరితులతో వెలిగే ధరణి హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ हिमनगमेनी मेली मुस्कुता सागर में पारानिगा हिमनगमेली मेली मुस्कुता सागर में पारानिगा పచ్చని పైరులే పసిడి చీరగా జగతికి సిరులందించేను పచ్చని పైరులే పసిడి చీరగా జగతికి సిరులందించేను వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ వందనం జననీ మము చల్లక కాచి దీవించమ్మా జననీ హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ వీర ధీర చరితులతో వెలిగే ధరణి హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ హే భారత జననీ
Thank you so much for such a beautiful rendition. I now request Swami Bodhamanji Maharaj to bless the students of Sister Nivedita High School. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you, Maharaj. Moving forward, we now have our guest, Sri Sharad Vivek Sagar, also known as the Vivekananda of 21st century, is a globally renowned entrepreneur. At the age of 16, he founded a national organization called Dexterity Global in order to help the youth of 21st century to inculcate brilliant leadership minds. He was listed under Global Forbes 30 under 30 list, was inducted in the list of young entrepreneurs, in the list of 100 next century innovators by Rockefeller Foundation, and was also included in the Queen's Young Leaders list by the Queen of England. Despite his active global commitments, being a staunch follower of Swami Vivekananda, he has been actively involved in the activities of the Mud and Mission. We all are thankful of him to have taken his time out to grace this occasion. Thank you, sir.
Switched the mic off when he left. I offer my pranams to Thakurma and Swamiji, my pranams to our reverend monks here, our brahmacharis here, my namaskars to our young friends who are present in this hall and two more halls in this building, which is wonderful, and everybody who's watching online, to members of faculty who are here, and everybody who makes VIHE what it is, the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. It is an absolute joy to be back here because 2 to 3 years of the pandemic, we have rarely met in person. So it is good to be back to Hyderabad. It is good to be back to VIHE. And the best of all, it is good to be back amongst students who are high school students who are present in person. I always enjoy spending time with kids who are still in high school, and I say this all the time because I get the opportunity to speak, sometimes at colleges and universities, and the older you get, sometimes the more negative, the more pessimistic, the more tensed and stressed you begin to get. But speaking to high school kids, one sees that energy, one sees that optimism. And if there's anything that I want to say to you today, as in 2 years' time, we complete 75 years of our independence, it is your optimism that will matter. It is your faith in yourself that will matter. It is your confidence in your abilities and that of your fellow citizens that will matter. So it is important that, we begin to see ourselves not as somebody who's, small and powerless and weak and not good, not great. Each one of you should see yourselves as powerful. You have enough energy, you have enough abilities, you have enough capabilities, honing which you can make those small changes that you want to see in your classroom, in your family, in your society, in your neighborhood, in our country. There are way too many times when as young people we feel powerless. I grew up in a small village of Bihar and I know a little bit about it. Many of you have grown up in this wonderful city and you've seen, 24/7 electricity supply, 24/7 facilities that allow you, to take forward your dreams, that allow you to do what you want to do. When I was growing up in a small village in Bihar, I didn't go to a regular school for the first 12 years of my life. I had to self-teach myself, but the greatest blessing that I think I came across was my parents decided to teach me with the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna Dev, Holy Mother Sharada Devi and Swami Vivekananda. So as a small child, 5 years, 6 years of age, what I first remember is every morning we would wake up and we would walk around the four walls of the rented houses that we would live in, and on every wall there was a quotation of Sri Ramakrishna Dev, of Holy Mother, of Swami Vivekananda in English and in Hindi. And we would recite that first and then we would get to anything else. The second part of my education was my parents made it mandatory for us to read newspapers so that we stayed connected with what was happening in the world around us, at a local level, at a global level. And the third thing was reading textbooks and notebooks. And way too many young people who I meet in our country oftentimes ask me that you were all of 16 years of age when you founded Dexterity, what was going on in your mind? I know we like to read a lot of startup magazines and a lot of, online journals that talk about startup founders and entrepreneurs, and most startups seem to be born on a lazy summer afternoon. The work that we started with Dexterity was not, born one afternoon, one evening, or in one day. It was nurtured, I guess, long enough with the ideas of Swamiji and with the lived experiences that I was seeing in the small towns and districts of Bihar where I lived. It was at the age of 12 that I first enrolled in a regular school, which I would continue in till grade 12. All these years when I was reading Swamiji, a lot of powerful things that you heard your young friends recite this morning, I was hearing those things, repeating those things every day. And in face of adversity, it gave me courage. In the face of hopelessness, it gave me hope. In the face of weakness, it gave me strength. Because Swamiji's life is full of that. We lived in a country that was under British control. It was occupied by the British, it was colonized by the British. And yet, in that country, Swamiji was trying to wake us all up from that deep slumber our country had gone into. When Swami Vivekananda went to Chicago, like many of you, or like many of us, he could have had that self-doubt. I come from a country that is a British colony, English is not my first language, this global stage is full of too many people who are learned and intellectual and powerful and influential. Swamiji was all of 29 years of age when he stood up to speak in Chicago. Swamiji could have also, beyond that self-doubt, he could have told a story that pitied himself, his great culture and civilization and country. But Swamiji chose the better story. He did not choose to, go to a global platform, speak in Chicago and say that, we are the poorest of the poor, we are the most ignorant of the ignorant, we have nothing good to offer to the world. He said, and he acknowledged it, that we had real problems, but we were the inheritors of greatness and goodness. We were the actual inheritors of the AMRIT. as we celebrate our Amrit Mahotsav of 75 years of our independence, it is important that as young citizens of our country, we take those two examples from Swamiji's life. Not to consider ourselves weak, not to live too much in self-doubt, not to feel that, oh, we are too small, too weak, too meek in order to get the job done. The second part, every time we have to choose a story about ourselves. Every time we have to choose a pathway we want to walk. It is important that we choose the better story. As a young person in a tuition class or in a playground this evening, you might tell yourself, it's too tough for me to learn anything. It can be calculus, it can be badminton, I cannot learn. And then there's a better story that you can choose. You are a lifelong learner. When you knew no language, you could still ask for food. When you were sick, you could get your mother's attention. You picked up a language in the colony or in the classroom, and you can communicate today. You walked into playgrounds, you've sat down, around a table, and you've picked up games that your friends taught you in like 2 to 3 minutes, or, barely few seconds sometimes. You are people who have, the capability to learn, and learn. If that is the story you tell yourself about yourself, you will continue to be that learner. Sometimes it will take more time than other times, but you would know you are inherent lifelong learners. Sri Ramakrishna Dev, as Swamiji talks about him, one of the greatest of all times, saw himself as a lifelong learner. You must tell yourself that story about yourself, that as young citizens of this country, we are lifelong learners. There might be 2 million things that we do not know, but not an inch in our mind that says we cannot know. The second part that you must keep in mind is that you're lifelong leaders. In every moment, there is something you can do. And if you choose that better story that you're lifelong leaders, and I have the great honor and privilege to lead and serve an organization that for the last 14 years has been talking to young people about leadership, but not just that, has been trying to groom those next generation leaders in small towns and districts of our country. We talk about leadership in a very simple language. We say leadership is your ability to deliver value through whatever limited expertise that you have. Now that makes sure that a 5-year-old child who lovingly makes, or helps a 3-year-old child walk, that child is a leader. The only thing that child knows at the age of 5 is how to walk, and that child is helping somebody else walk with that limited expertise. The same child, when that child is 15, and that might represent many of you, you might not know, a lot of rocket science or reactions or policy writing, but you know how to write a letter. And if you write that letter for an old woman who needs a widow pension card, you are a leader. You are putting your limited expertise of writing to work. The same child who at 5 can walk and is helping somebody else walk, at 15 can write and is writing something for someone, might begin to write, policies at think tanks at the age of 25, or draft, good decision-making bodies and whatnot at the age of 35, 45, 55, and so on and so forth. Essentially, this is what Swamiji says when he says, be and make. As young citizens of our country, we do not have to sit down and complain that, our schools don't work, our hospitals don't work, our streets are not safe. We need to be those agents of change. As Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, would have echoed if he was alive today. But even when he's not, his words must echo in every part of this country. Be and make. That is essentially what Swamiji said. You feel that healthcare is not great in your part of the country, your part of the town, your part of the city. Be that doctor who shall serve as a servant leader. Swami Vivekananda said, Dasa se dasa. When you become the CEO of an organization or the leader of a group or a team, or you begin to lead a group project in your class, it is not for you to become the boss who is not going to listen to anybody. It is for you to be the servant's servant. It is for you to decide, these are people who are dependent on me, and this is what I'm going to do for them. This is what we're going to do together. That be and make part must come to you as a servant leader for this country. Inspired by Swami Vivekananda's call, an entire generation of servant leaders dedicated themselves to the cause of freedom. That was our national work in the 1890s, in the 1900s, in the early 1900s. Mahatma Gandhi said, my love for India grew 1,000-fold when I read Vivekananda. Pandit Nehru said that Swami Vivekananda was a fountainhead of inspiration. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose said that if Swamiji was alive today, I would have been at his feet doing his work. And they all realized that great work of Swamiji that they had to do at that point was to gain that independence for our country. That generation of servant leaders, remember, their journey was powered through their education. When we think of Gandhi, we think of an old gentleman with glasses and a walking stick. That is the pictorial representation of Gandhi that we have in our minds. When we think of Nehru, we think of a man with the sobriquet of Chacha and a rose that he would carry with himself, stuck finely on his coat suit. When we think of Patel, we think of iron and we stop. When we think of Ambedkar, we think of poverty and the constitution and we stop. It is important as young citizens to think, what were these great men of our times, the great people of our times, what were they doing when they were at your age? Mahatma Gandhi, in his teens and 20s, was at a place called University College London, which was one of the best universities in the world then and remains one today. Nehru went to Cambridge, Sardar Patel to Middle Temple College in the United Kingdom, and Ambedkar went to Columbia. Their journey was powered through education. They explored different worldviews, different perspectives, and they fully committed themselves to that sometimes thankless, sometimes dangerous, sometimes painstaking work of fighting for freedom, marching towards a country that would not just have political independence, but independence in every way. It is because of that generation's education. It is because of that educated generation's commitment to service. It is because of that service transforming into real work and action and galvanizing people that we marched to freedom on the 15th of August, 1947. Let's have no doubt about that. But that alone was not enough. In the 1950s and 60s, we lived in a country where we did not have enough to feed many of our people. We did not have enough milk in our country for our growing population. We were seen as a country that might not continue to, stay united. We were seen as a country that might not be able to defend itself in case China tried to encroach or Pakistan tried to attack. It was the education, once again, of a generation that decided to be servant leaders. The education of a young boy growing up in a fisherman's family somewhere on the coast of Rameshwaram. In the education of a young boy who would go on from being Kalam to Dr. Kalam to President Kalam, a missile man Kalam, that India would find its strength in terms of its internal defense, in terms of its national security. It was in the education of a young boy who would finish his education at University of Cambridge in 1948 and return to India and say to the Prime Minister of our country that space should not just be the fortress of Soviet Russia or the United States of America, that India should also be a force in space. It was because of the education of Vikram Sarabhai that today we launch satellites and space projects for a quarter of the budget of Hollywood movies that are made about space. It was in the education of a young gentleman who went to Michigan State University and studied dairy technology and came back to this country and met with a gentleman named Tribhuvandas Patel in the sleepy town of Anand in Gujarat, that they decided that they would work on a billion-liter idea that India, from a milk-deficient country, could be transformed into the largest producer of milk in the world, and that we did. In 1998, 50 years of tapasya, literally, that Tribhuvandas Patel and Verghese Kurian did in Anand in Gujarat, building an organization by the name of Amul that you and I know about today and take pride in, that India became the largest producer of milk in 1998, overtaking the same United States of America that Kurian studied in and returned from in 1948. In this country, when they said we could not grow enough grains for our growing population, it was the education of M.S. Swaminathan, which a gentleman who, when Time magazine would come up with a list of 20 most influential Asians, only 3 Indians would make the list: Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, and M.S. Swaminathan. It was in his education that we heralded a green revolution. And today, I know many of our citizens, unfortunately, still sleep in the streets, on the footpath, without enough to eat. But the Food Corporation of India still has 6 times the amount of food that we need in our country to feed our citizens. We became grain sufficient, grain independent milk independent, a space power, a nationally secure force because of the education of India's young and those who were dedicated to the cause of national life, to the cause of national work, to service. Why am I saying that to you today? As those of you who sit in these beautiful large halls here in VIHE, if I would not have walked down, I would not have known that you're seated in 3 halls. And those who are watching, online, I say this to you because our country needs that 3rd generation of servant leaders, fearless and committed, dedicated and devoted. There are still way too many of our kids in our tribal areas and in our poor areas, in our remote towns and districts who are out of school, and we need to put them through school. There are still many kids in our country who need, quality healthcare when they are growing up with an ailing disease that their parents cannot, pay for a cure. There are still way too many people in our country who need hospitals to work for them, schools to make sense for their kids, and there's so much that we need to change, not just the basic amenities of, health and education and agriculture, but also making our education more interesting, making sure that we can deliver the same kind of knowledge, the same kind of service to way too many people at the same time. There's more work to be done. The chairs that you're sitting in, the microphone that I'm using, the internet, and all the websites and technologies that we are using, a generation committed, maybe 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 50 years ago, or as recent as 20 years ago. Young people put themselves to work as innovators and inventors, as nation builders, as dedicated servant leaders. That is why we are reaping the benefits of what we have achieved, including our independence. That responsibility comes to us today. For thousands of years in this great land, people have passed on the responsibility to uplift more people, lift more people out of ignorance, lift more people out of poverty and misery to that next generation. That is the reason why I want you to see yourself as powerful. That is part of the reason why when I was 16 years old, inspired by Swamiji's call, because I wanted to be one of those 100 people that Swamiji talks about who could change the world. And later I realized we need to prepare thousands and millions of those young people in our country, that I got started with the work of Dexterity. We work on 3 things, and I want you to keep all 3 things in mind. The first one is we work on opportunity discovery and preparation for you. If you do not know that there is an opportunity for you, you will not be able to make use of that opportunity. So make sure you're connected with opportunities. Ask your teachers, read newspapers, go to seniors who have done something in life. Ask them what more opportunities are there for you. And on days when you feel tired and confused, sign up for Dex Connect. It puts you in touch with hundreds of opportunities on the first Sunday of every month, free. More than 7 million kids in the country see those opportunities, participate in those opportunities, gain more experience and exposure, and move forward. Second, we work on leadership development. You need to build that leadership. Your leadership needs to come bottom up. It needs to come inside out. You do not have to wait to become a leader 50 years later. You are a leader in your classroom when you help somebody with a homework. You are a leader in your school bus when somebody is sick and you run to the driver and you let him know that somebody is sick, we might have to stop the bus. That is what leadership looks like. That's the leadership we see our mother do in our house or in an office. That is the leadership we see in our society. So that leadership development, you need to do that every day. Find opportunities to be leaders. You are gifted, those of you who are attending in person, that you live in Hyderabad. Come to VIHE. Join the Balak Sangh meetings. Join the VIHE volunteers. Participate in more activities that happen here at Ramakrishna Mutt in Hyderabad. Let Swamiji's life inspire you. Let Swamiji's message not put you to sleep. Let it wake you up. And let Swamiji's call become your call. That leadership development will happen here. That character development will happen here. Then the third thing we work on, it's called career development. Make sure you build good careers. If you don't become good doctors or engineers, you will not get the kind of facilities you want to receive in this country. When Gandhiji said, be the change you want to see in the world, when Swami Vivekananda said, be and make, he essentially meant, don't be a complaining generation, be a problem-solving generation. As young citizens, identify problems that you see in your locality. in your city, town, district, state, country, and fearlessly see what modes can you take to solve some of those problems. See what contribution you can make with your education. So as young citizens, my message to you today, 2 days before our 75th day of independence, is there's more work to be done. So much to be grateful for all that our previous generations did for us. So much to take the deepest pride in, for the glorious civilization we are the inheritors of. And yet, so much more work to do. So many more kids to send to school, so many more people to lift up, and so much more to do to make sure that Swamiji's message, Swamiji's mission, Swamiji's call of India showing the way to the world is achieved. For all of that and for much of that, this country looks towards you. Do not see yourself as powerless. Do not see yourself as weak. You'll make mistakes. Forgive yourself. You'll have moments of doubt. Read Swamiji. You'll have those moments when you feel, can I do it? That fiery faith, that fiery confidence that Swamiji talks about will come when you read him again and again. Even when you do not read a book, Google Swami Vivekananda quotes, see the authentic websites, read 3 quotes every day, think about those quotes, think about what you can do with it. Swamiji also gave his ideal for patriotism in a time when television debates seemed to drown what patriotism means in our country. Swamiji said, I too have a definition for patriotism, and he set forward 3 ideals. The first one he said was, do you feel? And I usually do not ask the audience a lot of questions, but I want to ask you because you're young and you're restless and you're energetic. First ideal of patriotism that Swamiji puts forward is, do you feel the pain of others? Do you feel that pain when you see that somebody else your age does not go to school? So many people in our country starve. So the first question is, do you feel? Louder. So Swamiji says that's the first ideal, but that alone is not enough. The second thing is, if you feel the pain, you need to come up with a plan. Have you come up with a plan? That is I'm glad some of you said no. That is the plan that you have to work towards. If you feel the pain of those who cannot get education, will you do some important work in the field of education tomorrow? If you feel the pain of somebody who does not get enough to eat, will you do something in that field? That is what you have to think. You have to come up with a plan. That is the second ideal of patriotism that Swamiji puts forward. And the third and the final ideal of patriotism that Swamiji puts forward, that you have to take out of VIHE today. He says, it is good that you feel. It is good that you've come up with a plan. Even if the whole world is opposed to you, will you still keep walking that path? Will you still continue to work on that plan? If your answer is yes to all 3 questions, then you are a patriot. Will you all be Swamiji's patriots? Yes. Will you all be Swamiji's workers? Yes. Thank you very much. Happy Independence Day in advance, and may Swamiji bless us all.
Thank you so much, sir, for redefining the real meaning of leadership and its importance to build the resurgent India that we need, and also pointing out the 2 main messages from Swamiji's life and teachings, strength and choice of having a better story. And I now request Swami Bodhmayanji Maharaj to felicitate Shri Sharad Sagar, sir. Thank you.
My dear young brothers and sisters, please keep this in mind what Sharad is doing last 16 years. And the day he got his convocation certificate from Tufts University in United States, He was the only Indian in 160 years of the Tufts University to be given a chance to speak on Indian concept of leadership in America. And I remember him saying the night when there was partying, there was drinking, dancing in Tufts University by his friends, by his classmates, Sharad took his small bag and marched on to the airport in New York to catch the first flight back to Bihar. Why? He wanted to serve the children, the poor children of India. And in the airport, his American friends casually asked him, when will you come back to America? You are leaving us and going away the same night. And you know what the punch he gave? The confidence that he got from Swami Vivekananda? When your American president calls me back, I will come to America. Who on earth can say that? And literally, the grace of Swamiji, grace of Sri Ramakrishna was on him. Believe it or not, in the next 2 years, Barack Obama called him to the White House. Not for party, not for some cool drink, to speak to the American students about India. You should have that knowledge, you should have that confidence, you should have that bhakti, not just having Aadhaar card. So that is what Sharad Sagar's influence is. Okay? So, and spreading across the entire continent. And when he said there's poverty, there's education, I remember one statistics given by Vinayak Lohani of parivar.org, Parivar NGO in Bihar, in Madhya Pradesh and Kolkata. Every day, even today, as we celebrate 75 years, 50 to 60 children are dying of starvation in Bundelkhand, Devas district. And we take food and we throw the food. Let us give to a dog at least. Let us give to a cow on the streets of Hyderabad. Or let us take that food and put it into a well or a reservoir so that the fish inside will eat that. And even if that is not available nearby, go back to your school after your lunch break, make a small hole in the earth or in the pot and put that cooked food back and pray to Mother Nature. You gave us paddy, you gave us wheat. Oh Mother, we are giving you cooked food. And that food will become manure for your life. That is how the soil is saved. That is how you can do some service for the country. So these are very sensitive issues in 75th year of Indian independence, which we can do. You are not parliamentarians, you are not IAS officers, you are not the big chairmen of MNCs. But in your area, in your house, in your school, you can follow it. As you enter into the bus, school bus, there is a driver sitting there waiting for you with sweat, with heat, with that oil, with that dirtiness. You just go with a Coca-Cola bottle, with a pizza bottle, with something there and sit and enjoy and talk. But before entering, my request to all of you, even today you can do that. Some of you have come by your school bus. There's a bus driver waiting outside, sitting there. Can you just say, Namaste Anna, Namaste brother, Happy Independence Day, and then go inside. And when you get inside, get outside, when you go back, when you get out of the bus, just a small dhanyavadam for him. He will never forget you in his life. You will become his child. And he becomes your father directly or indirectly. He is also a human being, right? The watchman in your gate, how many of you greet him and give him an apple or a banana or a bread or a small book on your birthday? And we spend thousands and thousands just to have that face pack of cake on your face, forgetting that the dog outside the hotel is waiting for that cake. Sensitivity is lost. Somehow we have lost it. So Sharad has got so many stories and so many examples, and we are working on this in our institute here. Okay? So please work on these positives and become better and better and wipe the tears of the motherland. So now, just last few minutes of our program today. One of the most important things for India is what? Health. Is it not? I'll ask you a question, just say yes or no. Is half an hour exercise better or 5 hours with the doctor better? And how many of you are doing it regularly? Not Nidrasana, not Shavasana, not Bhojanasana, but Surya Namaskaram every day. Okay? Thank you. Some of you are doing, but how consistently is the question. Otherwise, all the medical bills of all the expenditure of, or the income of your father goes to the so-called doctor, who will tell, hey, scan karo, MRI, this, that and all, gone. And I find young boys and girls like you sitting in the hospitals. Not for serving the people, but for yedupu. So we have a Yogasana team here of youngsters who practice, who learn Yogasanas every day, and on Sundays especially we concentrate on school children so that the health of the nation will be very, very important. A healthy mind, healthy body, and that will take you to a healthy nation. Now we'll have a 10 minutes yoga demonstration and be inspired with that, because the tradition of India is yoga, not roga. When more of bhoga, you land up in a hospital. Roga. Back pain, neck pain, head pain, as if the whole world is going down. Why didn't you, teachers may ask, why you did not come to school? Headache, madam. What? You be happy that you have a head. At least you know that you have a head. And when there is head, definitely there will be ache. Take one small tablet and get out. Why so much trouble on your body? And I was talking in Tirupati the other day, Sharad also was there. I was telling, the greatest nation on earth which celebrates number of holidays. Mera Bharat Mahan. For anything, holiday. One small fool comes in some political party, for his birthday, one holiday. Nobody cares for him, but he wants his birthday to be as holiday. To do what? To do Kumbhakarna. Second Saturday holiday. What is the second Saturday business? I don't know. Who taught it? Some fool in the parliament? Why second Saturday should be holiday? Abdul Kalam told, my birthday should have 1 hour extra work. That is Dr. Kalam for you. 18 hours per day he used to work as the President of India. You don't follow Kalam, but you appreciate Kalam. Oh, Kalam, oh, wonderful. Oh, Kalam, oh, okay. You do what he said. Holidays. You know what? 365 days a year, yes or no? Is it less or small? 365 days in a calendar year. You know how much we are spending on holidays? 200 days. And you want AMRIT MAHOTSAV? 200 days holidays. When will you develop the country? Okay, let us take holiday. Let us give 1 day holiday to the sun god, Surya Narayana. Please don't come tomorrow morning. What will happen to the planet? Holiday. 200 days holidays. Who ante holiday? Ante holiday. Why don't you give holiday to the soldiers in Siachen Glacier? You will understand what China will do. When we are celebrating AZADI Ka Amrit, read yesterday's newspaper, 4 Jawans were killed by terrorists in J&K. Don't they have their family? Are they not our brothers and sisters? Why should they die for my drinking and dancing in Banjara Hills? You see what cheats we are? And on this gateway of India, you cannot see the names. It's so minute. Thousands and thousands who sacrifice their names are there on the walls of this India gate. What a wonder. So, you know, this holiday culture has to change. I am fighting against it. I know it won't be a reality, but at least in Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, we are more busy on Sunday than the government of India. From morning 6 o'clock, we work extra. We have no holidays. So, Sharad Sagar has no holidays. Work. Holiday means you can take rest. That does not mean school band kar do or university band kar do, sab holiday. Holiday, you do what? Huh? I want to know. See, eat popcorn? Nothing you will do. ఏం పని చేస్తున్నారని పెద్ద సెలవులు కావాలి మనకి. So anyway, that is health also is important. Now young kids will demonstrate, appreciate, absorb, get inspired, and then we'll conclude. over to the Yogasana group of VIHE. Give them a big round of applause.
We have the yoga demonstration by the Balavikas students, Nitish, Satvik, Kartikeya, Akhil, Yashasvi, Rishi, Aditya, and Ritesh of classes 7 and 8.
కొంచెం లాస్ట్కి చెప్తే అంతే ఇంకా కొంచెం అన్న దానికి రాదు Namaskar. We'll start with the Omkara. Take a long and deep breath, chant Omkara. Starting prayer, Patanjali prayer. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam shariracha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram munina Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. Now let us know the meaning of the prayer. I prostrate with the folded hands to the supreme sage Patanjali, who eradicate the impurity of mind with Yoga Shastra, impurity of speech with Vyakarana, impurity of body with Ayurveda literature. Right? Now, in Yogasana, Surya Namaskaras are very, very important. As just now Swamiji said, Surya Namaskara is like a bridge between the asanas and pranayama. Right? Surya Namaskaras, sun salutation is first performed by Lord Hanuman as a dakshina to Lord Surya. Okay? In Ishavasya Upanishads, verses 15 tells about the sun salutations. Now let us start with the prayer. Hiranmayena patrena satyasthapitam mukham tatvam pushanna pavrunu satyadharmaya dristray. Now let us know the meaning. The face of truth is covered with a golden lid. O Lord Sun, I surrender to you. Bless us and remove the ignorance and guide us to follow the path of real truth and sustain the dharma. Now we'll see the Surya Namaskaras. Tadasana, which called as mountain pose. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Next, Veerabhadrasana, warrior pose. Another variation of Veerabhadrasana, pose 2. Padahastasana, foot hand pose. Next, Vajrasana, diamond pose. Next, Shashankasan, moon pose. Next, Ustrasana, camel pose. Next, Janu Shirsasana, knee and forehead pose. Vakrasana, twisted pose. Gomukhasan, cow face pose. Chakrasana, V pose. Please give a round of claps. It will motivate them. Sarvangasana. This is queen of all asanas. Next standing pose. Halasana, plow pose. Relax. Sure. We'll go for Raj Kapotasan. Raj Kapotasan. Relax. Bakasana is crow pose. Standing Chakrasana. Standing Chakrasana. Relax. Relax. Come down. भारत माता की, Thank you. Thank you very much.
Everyone, please take your seats. Thank you, that was a wonderful performance. Moving forward, along with the regular mantras, we have a unique and a very significant mantra called Swadesh Mantra given to all of us, especially the youth, by Swami Vivekananda. Let us hear it and assimilate it from our Reverend Maharaj.
Yeah, my dear young friends, I am going to read the Swadesh Mantra, our own past, present and future of India, given by Swami Vivekananda 125 years ago. I'll read very slowly with a gap. That means you're all going to repeat it and take the oath today. Shall I start? Okay. O India, with this mere echoing of others, with this base imitation of others, with this dependence on others, this slavish weakness, this vile, detestable cruelty, wouldst thou, with these provisions only, scale the highest pinnacle of civilization and greatness? Wouldst thou attain, by means of thy disgraceful cowardice, that freedom deserved only by the brave and the heroic? O India, forget not that the ideal of thy womanhood is Sita, Savitri, Damayanti. Forget not that the God you worshipest is the great ascetic of ascetics, the all-renouncing Shankara, the Lord of Uma. Forget not that thy marriage, thy wealth, thy life are not for sense pleasures, are not for thy individual personal happiness. Forget not that thou art born as a sacrifice to the mother's altar. Forget not that the lower classes, the ignorant, the poor, the illiterate, the cobbler, the sweeper are thy flesh and blood, thy brothers. Thou brave one, be bold, take courage, be proud that thou art an Indian, and proudly proclaim, I am an Indian. Every Indian is my brother. Say, the ignorant Indian, the poor and destitute Indian, the Brahmin Indian, the Paraya Indian is my brother. Thou too, clad with but a rag round thy loins, proudly proclaim at the top of thy voice, the Indian is my brother, the Indian is my life. India's gods and goddesses are my God. India's society is the cradle of my infancy. The pleasure garden of my youth, the sacred heaven, the Varanasi of my old age. Say, brother, the soil of India is my highest heaven. The good of India is my good. And repeat and pray day and night. O thou Lord of Gauri, O thou Mother of the Universe, vouchsafe manliness unto me. O thou Mother of Strength, take away my weakness, take away my unmanliness, and make me a man. Every soul is a young eagle, soaring higher and higher, gathering more and more strength, till it reaches the glorious sun. Strength is life, weakness is death. Once more. Strength is life, weakness is death. Just close your eyes for 30 seconds and think what you have repeated if you can. Think of the people in the Himalayas, people in the forests, people in the bank of the Ganges, people in the Vindhyachal regions, in the eastern Ghats, in the western Ghats, in the Arunachal Pradesh, that we are celebrating this Amrita Mahotsav in this great country, oldest civilization. A little prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, for the welfare of others. May all be happy, may all be peaceful, may all be free from difficulties, dangers, diseases, sufferings. Let the poor get something to eat. Let the poor get something to live. And let there be health everywhere. Let there be peace in your family, friends, relatives, neighbors, in the whole city, state, country. Let us conquer death. And that will be real Amrita Mahotsav. Death does not mean only giving up the body, but fear is death. Telling lies is death. All the negative habits is death. Let us overcome that on this occasion of Amrita Mahotsav. As you close your eyes, please repeat. Arise, awake. Sleep no more. Within each one of you, there is the power to remove all wants, all miseries. Believe in this, and that power will be manifested if you can think that infinite power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy lie within you. And if you can bring out that power, you also can become like me, Swami Vivekananda. Clap for yourself for a wonderful participation, and we'll have vote of thanks now, appreciating and recognizing the service of everybody by your faculty, Sri Ajit Singh Ji.
Good afternoon. How are you all guys feeling? Charged up? Was it a powerful program? Yes or no? You might have drawn so much of power from the powerful yoga presentation by our students, no? Are you feeling hungry? I'll just take 1 minute, okay? And before that, I'll tell you a small joke. Two students, they called each other. One student asked the other student, "What are you doing?" The other student said, "I'm sitting on a sofa and I'm looking at the TV." The other person asked, "What is it that you're looking at the TV?" He says, "I'm looking at the yoga that is being done." are you doing the yoga? Then the other student says, no, no, Ramdev Baba is doing the yoga. I am having my chocolate, watching it. So after watching these yoga students here, I'm sure you all must be feeling hungry because you also done exercise, no? Watching the yoga. Okay, I'll just take 1 minute for thanking all those who have contributed to this powerful program, right from the procession that has come, the DPS students with the band, and the NCC candidates who have escorted our guests and the guests coming up to the stage. And then our Swamiji, Adhyaksh Maharaj, Swami Bodhamayananji, who has given us a beautiful welcome address, and Shitesh Anandji Maharaj and other brother monks who have given us that opening song. Now, the very important message that I'm sure you all students must be taking home is the chief guests of today, that is Ravi Chandan sir and Sharad Sagar sir. The one thing which both speakers have given a beautiful message, and that is love India. India, we have got independence after so much of effort put by millions of people. Ravi Chandran said that after engineering we want to go to US. Whereas Sharad Sagar sir, after educating in Turp University, he has come back to his hometown, his village in Bihar, and is serving the Indian community. This is a very strong message that I'm sure you all must be taking home, that love India, serve India. The topic on which we had this convention today has been beautifully explained by both the speakers, and I thank both the speakers, Ravi Chandan sir and Sharad Sagar sir, for the beautiful message that they have drawn to these young minds. And then the strong, powerful national song by students from Nivedita School. And then very strong young demonstration by these young students. I thank students from Nivedita School and take this opportunity to thank Sanjay and team who have performed the yoga session here. And last but not the least, my thanks to the moderators, the anchors, Bharani and Leela Mahesh, who have done a very good job in conducting the entire program. And I have one announcement, and that is with regards to the lunch program, lunch prasadam. Since we have come to VIHE, we have learned so many things here, and we are carrying some good messages from here. Let us demonstrate some discipline here, from here itself, from this next moment. All the boys will go from behind, one by one, lane after lane, from the rear entrance towards the prasadam place, which will be guided by our volunteers. All the girls from the front, line by line, will go from this exit to the place where our volunteers will guide you. Can we follow this? Please, please, please. I'm seeing commotion now itself. No commotion. There are about 500, 600 students in this room. Unless and until we follow a discipline, there will be commotion at the exit points. Yes or no? You all agree? You all help us in following discipline today? Okay. So, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And looking forward to one more announcement, please. There is a certificate of participation will be provided to all the students who have come here today. So I would like to request their coordinators who have come along with them can go to our office and collect the certificates. Yeah, one certificate and also this book for each of the students who have come here. Okay? Huh? Yeah, our volunteers will guide them. Yes, please. So please don't, in between, please don't stand. Please sit down. Hello, my friend. Please sit down. Let us follow this discipline, and the boys will go to the puja mandapam and the girls will go just behind. There is a shed here. So thanks a lot. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to see you again and again in Ramakrishna Math. Thank you. Yeah, there will be a national anthem. All of you will stand for the national anthem and then sit back. Okay? Yeah, please. Silence, please. भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, जय हिंद, जय हिंद, जय हिंद. Thank you. Please sit down.